Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike, and today we're talking Wolf Creek, a 2005 horror movie. You know, 2005 horror movies were a strange beast. You had The Devil's Rejects, you had Hostel. It was a dark time in horror. It was when all the covers were weird and grimy looking, and it was all the unrated versions of movies were coming out. We were a sick group of fucks back in 2005, but it was one of the waves of horror that you rode. Wolf Creek came out during that time, and I saw it, and I remember a completely different expectation watching a movie like this back then. And I think it's really funny to think about movies and how when you watch them in their current era, how that affects your expectations going in. And I specifically remember watching Wolf Creek in 2005 when it came out and going, more of the same shit, and just kind of being annoyed at it, like, oh yeah, okay, we're going to be mean, we're going to torture this person, okay, yeah, I get this here and there. It's not scary. Some movies you go into and you need them to scare you and to shock you and surprise you for you to come away with a good score for them. Whereas I think nowadays that shifted a little bit. So nowadays we can go watch a movie and it may not scare us. We just want a well-made horror movie. But I guess that just depends on your age, your horror fandom, how it goes. But in this movie, I remember not being very impressed with it when I originally watched it. Fast forward to today, I watched it for the first time since 2005 in 18 years. I'm so good at math. And I'm going to watch the entire franchise. I'm going to watch Wolf Creek 2, and I'm going to watch that TV series because a lot of people have recommended it. And it's these three people. It's a guy and two girls, and they are just going on a trip together. They're all three of them decent people. They're not your typical, like, oh my God, I can't wait to see these people die. It's not that way with them. They're very realistic feeling people, even though he does definitely look like he would have been in the background of an Alien Ant Farm music video. He looks like he could have been in the band Crazy Town for sure. But he seems like a really cool guy, and the two girls do too. So, and you see them party a little bit. You see them enjoying their youth, having a good time. And the first half of the movie is just watching them travel, kind of. There's not a whole lot going on, and some people very annoyed with this. Where's the big guy with the giant knife? But the thing about it is that this allows you time to really appreciate these characters and to really grow to like them a lot and learn specific things about their personalities that will come into play later. Specifically, on one hand, they go to this diner and he gets some gas, and there's a group of these just rough looking dudes sitting there. And you know, if dudes are spending the middle of their day just hanging out in a gas station, you don't fuck with those guys, all right? You stay away from those guys. They got all the time in the world, all right? Don't mess with them. But they start talking all this disgusting stuff about wanting to gangbang the guy's girlfriends and all that stuff like that. And he says something to him. He's like, oh, whatever, fuckhead. He turns around and the dude stands up and he's like, what'd you say? And he's like, I said you have a beautiful smile, and like laughed it off. Then he gets in the car and the girls are like, it's okay. And he's mad at himself. He's like, I should have fucking hit him. And you could tell that, like, even though he's like in shape and whatever, he is not the fighting type of dude. Like, that is not his characteristic. And that was important for what's going to come later on to really put you in the right mood for what happened. So I'm not going to say they couldn't have taken some time out of it and got to the point quicker for sure. And it definitely hurts the film's rewatchability. But the first half of it is slow, and it's just getting to know these characters. But they go to this place called Wolf Creek, and it's really cool. It's somewhere I want to go. Well, not now. Not now. But it's somewhere I would have wanted to go because it's a nice setup when you don't actually know what's going to go on. And it's a giant crater in the ground, and they're talking about all these weird UFO stories and stuff like that on the way up there as well. And their watches both die at the same time. And then the car dies at the same time. By the way, spoilers if you don't know, it's 18 years old. But their watches die, and then the car dies. And I'm thinking let's get David Duchovny. This is some X-Files shit that's going on. This is going to be awesome. We're going to go aliens. And then this thing starts to move towards them, and it's a light. And it's a really well done scene that actually freaked me out. I'm like, oh, fuck, are there aliens? Jesus Christ. That would be a twist. And it was really well done. Even though they don't go anywhere with it, it just kind of shows how freaky it is out there in the middle of nowhere. And they talk about how, and I didn't know this, but Australia has just shit fuckloads of miles and miles of nothingness. We all knew they have dangerous things that can kill you, but I had no idea that there was that much vast country and that so many people got lost in it and all that. And by the way, all of this is loosely based on a true story called of a series of murders called the Backpack Murders, where Ivan Milat was a serial killer who killed at least 7 tourists between 89 and 93. And what the director of this and Wolf Creek 2, Greg McLean, said was that he wanted to take, this was originally supposed to be a completely different slasher film. He got the script for it, didn't like it, rewrote it, and he just kind of wanted to make a slasher kind of film set in the deep Australian outback with a Steve Irwin type, like over the top, hardcore Australian personality. And who doesn't want a remake with Hugh Jackman? I do. You know how fucked up that would be? That just super nice sweetheart of a man and they're just doing horrendous shit to people. That would mess with you. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. It was a really cool setup. The dude comes and he offers them a ride. He takes them back to his camp for the night and he's going to fix their car and then get them on the road. And they really play off the how awkward it is situation. And like, what can you do in this situation? It's so deep out there in the middle of nowhere with so many things that can kill you. And these three, like, do they even have a choice at this point? Because what if nobody else comes along? So it's like one of those, you want to say, hey, you're stupid for going with this guy back to his house. You're really dumb. But at the same time, like, it may be your only hope. So that's kind of hopeless enough in itself when you think about going on vacation with your family and the different kind of situations you can get involved in. You think you know what the right thing is to do, but sometimes there is no right answer. And I think this certain precarious situation really works for that. And on the other hand, when he shows up, he's hilarious. And you don't expect that. It's off-putting when he shows up. He's like, hey, what's going on, guys? You do not expect it. You expect some guy to get out of there with like a rebel flag all over his truck and to be like fucking, you know, smoking a cigarette and eating a bologna sandwich and be like, you want to buy my bologna sandwich? Mm-hmm. You expect something fucked up and scary. You don't expect, hey, what's going on? And it's off-putting because he's so charming. But then the second he's alone with the guy, he's like low-key just like chastising him and just making fun of him. He's like, I see why they keep you around. You're funny. You make me laugh. And just like weird shit like that. And they're kind of making fun of him a little bit. At least a couple of them are. But he can tell. He notices. And you see the way he looks at the guy. It's like, oh, you're just fucked. He's going to turn your taint into a necklace. You've been waiting for a while for things to happen now. And then all of a sudden, they close their eyes. And boom, we're in. They wake up and they're all tied up in different parts of the camp or whatever. And the fucking horror's on. The one girl wakes up. She luckily has a piece of glass, cuts herself free. This is where I actually start to get mad because the decisions these characters make are so fucking stupid at this point. At this point, I understand I got in this situation, but my God, you had so many chances to get out of it. So she cuts herself free. And at first, she's real smart about it. She sneaks around the camp. She looks through the window and you see what's happening. And it's this fun-loving, awesome dude, or so it seems like, is just fucking with her friend. He's got her tied up to a post and there's blood everywhere. You don't know what's happened before that, but he starts talking all this sexual stuff. And like, while she's begging him, just begging for her life, he's just fucking with her. He's pointing the rifle at her and pulling the trigger. All the mean shit you can think of, he's doing. And it really is hard to watch. It is pure torture horror for sure. But thank God they don't go too far with it at the same time. Like, they didn't like show a rape scene or anything like that. I shudder to think what Rob Zombie would have done with this because we all know how he loves his forced rape scenes. But at least we don't get that. But he hints at it, and like he at one point walks up to her like rubbing himself, and like he makes gestures and like rubs her face and like all the awful stuff. But they could have got a lot worse. I'm really appreciative they didn't. But they did enough to make us think they would go there. So it's at this point she's smart enough to like go start a fire and an explosion, and he goes out to check on it, and then she runs in. There are weapons everywhere. Just all, this is his like kill shelter, and it's really fucked up because it lets you know as well, there's like half chopped up bodies with just like dicks and tits out hanging from the wall, and you can see what he's done to other people. And he even tells her at one point, he's like, that one right there kept me company for like 3 months before she died. And you're just like, holy shit, you've got to get out of there. But she gets the gun, and it's you really are on the edge of your seat, right? Because she's holding the gun and the other girl's like laughing. She's like, fuck you, you're fucked now. And she's holding the gun at him, and she's just, like, she can't hold the gun. And understandably so, that'd be a scary situation, but she is a inflatable arm, wacky inflatable tube man. Just, just trying to, like, you're dead. I'm just sitting there watching, like, oh, well, we're fucked. And he's like, now give me the goddamn gun. She shoots, hits him in the neck hole, I think, like around here somewhere. It could have been the ear. Maybe I'm misremembering it, but somewhere in this general region. Not so much here or here, but right here. What movie is that from? Comment down below. That's the easy one. Anyways, this is where they make the dumbest decision that would have saved lives. It would have saved all their fucking lives. He's passed out, just knocked out on the ground. And she lets her friend go. And her friend's like, kill him immediately. She's like, kill that motherfucker. Yes. You know what she does? She takes the gun and goes, and like hits him in the back. Like just, oh, I guess that did it. There's shit everywhere. You could have grabbed a knife. You could have grabbed anything. There's a fucking crossbow, mate. Fucking crossbow hanging from the corner. Anything. You could have killed him. It would have been done. It would have been over. They leave him alive. They try to escape in the truck. Guess who shows up standing there like fucking Captain Howdy? This guy. It's an intense scene, but the whole time you're like, God, you're so fucking stupid. They get in the car. Fuck their friend, by the way. We don't know where the dude is. They don't know where the dude is. She could have killed him and gone to find her friend, but instead she leaves him alive, gets in the car, and they try to escape. Just leave him there. What the fuck you think's gonna happen when he wakes up? Shitty, shitty, shitty friends. That's what you are. I hope I never get kidnapped and attempted butt raped by an Aussie with you in the car. But anyway, in a freaky scene, they're just driving, and it's also pitch black, and you can't see anything. And they're just driving, and boom, they almost go off a cliff because it's just everything's in the middle of nothing. But instead of putting the car in fucking reverse, or like driving along the side of it at least to make sure, or just go a little slower. I don't know. You had a huge head start on the guy. Decides to go straight up fucking MacGyver, and in the middle of nowhere, like, oh, let's push the car over so he'll see the lights and he won't check on us. Somehow this fucking works and they get away with it. But on the way back, her friend's hurt from the injuries she incurred, and she's in the shittiest friend ever in this moment. She's like, all right, I could do it faster without you, so just wait here for me. And the friend's like spending 10 minutes begging, and the entire time they're being loud as shit or obvious about what they're doing, and you're just sitting here like, shut the fuck up! He's behind you! Shut the fuck up! Whisper, god damn it! The entire movie is like this, and that's why it's so stressful and suspenseful, and I get that, but god damn do they make some stupid character decisions that'll piss you off. Anyway, she goes back. She's like, I'll be back. She's like, please, God, hurry. I don't want to be left alone. She's like, I promise. I'll be fast as shit. I'll be faster than fucking J.G. Wentworth's 877 cash now. And she goes back in there. You know what she does? She just starts going through his shit. Oh, there's some video cameras over here. I guess I'll fucking watch all these videos. She's like goddamn Clark Griswold in the fucking attic at Christmas Vacation. Only his family's in the mall. She's being chased by a deranged super psycho killer. It's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking seen someone do in a movie in my life, and it made me crazy because I cared. Anyway, it leads to a really great fucking scene where she finally gets her dumb ass in the car, starts it, and when she does, he's been sitting in the car the whole fucking time, and it scares the shit out of him. He's like, "Hey!" Fucking stabs her in the side, and it just makes you feel all sorts of ooey gooey inside. It was really well shot. You've seen the guy pop up in the backseat 1,000 times. It's never been done better than this. This is the best one because he just like, and like leans up, and it's so just like hopeless and fucked up and really well made. And it's followed up by an even worse scene because at this point you're thinking, hey, maybe these girls survive. Maybe some good comes out of this. No, this is where they steal the hope back from you, like the Green Bay Packers did to me so many times when they made the NFC Championship and then lost. He does the whole, that's not a knife, this is a knife, cuts her fingers off in one fell swoop, picks her up, and then calls her, you know what a head on a stick is? And he takes, and I'm a terrible accent or doer guy, but he's like, do you know what a head on a stick is? And he's like, once the spine's severed, that's what your head is. It's just basically a head on a stick. And he sticks the knife in her back and just cuts for a second. She drops, completely paralyzed. And you're like, oh, we are in fucktown, party of you. And it's so sad because you're like, oh, now I know. There's no happy ending in this fucking story at all. He just severed that girl's spine like that. And he did it while laughing. So then he goes off after the other girl who you think, oh, again, oh, maybe she gets away. It could happen, Steve. No, it could not happen, Steve. She gets to the road. This old guy pulls over and he helps her. And then, he puts her in the back seat and you're like, oh, maybe. He puts her in the back seat, goes around. He's like, let me get you a blanket. And the smart thing would be like, dude, I don't need a fucking blanket. Get in that car and drive it. But no, she lets him get the blanket in the water. And then you just hear her. And it hits his can and you're going, God damn it. Reminds me a lot of scenes from the Hitcher remake as well. Just like some of the badass like open country scenes we had in that. Australia plays a huge part in why this movie's so scary, for sure. And then you've got this tense scene where she's all fucked up and she's having to find the keys and drive this slow ass car. And he's just sitting behind her, revving up his engine. He's fucking with her. He's got a sniper rifle, busts her tire. she flips over, and then he doesn't even fuck with her anymore. Like, he just walks up to her and just like shoots her a couple times. And it's like, it's the perfect way to do that, because I think we'd be torture porned out a little bit at this point, and then he just kind of puts her down in a way that's even more depraved. It's just dark, man. It's fucked up. It's horror. It's really good horror. Like, it's really hopeless, dark, fucked up, and mean horror. And it serves as a lesson. You watch what the fuck you're doing on vacation. I'm not sure exactly what these kids could have done to get themselves out of this situation before he ended up capturing him. But, I mean, I guess sometimes that's what horror's got to be, right? Horror's got to tell you, yeah, you fuck around, sometimes you're going to find out. And this movie is that case. Of course, it got maligned a lot because everybody just called it mean and just mean for the sake of being mean and all this, just because the torture porn was like the thing of the time. So I think everybody took it out on this movie. But when you look at it as a standalone, you don't get so mad about that. You appreciate it. Like, hey, that's what this movie is. It's sad when someone murders people. Like, it's not always a happy ending where like, hey, my friends are dead, but I'm fine. They shouldn't have had sex. No, this is realistic, you know? So that's part of the reason why the movie's scary. And the movie is scary. The movie is tense as fuck when it gets going. The guy does get away. He's hanging in there and he pulls himself off and he does get away. But the end of the movie is just so abrupt, because it's like, after spending 4 months in police care, because nobody fucking believed him, he was actually cleared of all charges based on no evidence. So he's probably going to spend the rest of his life with everybody thinking he killed these girls. And then they show our guy, Mick Taylor, by the way, played by John Jarratt, who is just fucking amazing. Like, you hate his guts and you really hate his guts, because he goes from just this lovable fucking Australian guy who's just kind of wild and crazy kids into this just disgusting, depraved fucking sicko who loves what he does. Like, and he hinted at it earlier where he's like, oh, I'll take out a couple roos. You know, there's too many of them, doing everybody a favor. And then he says, just like tourists. So that's the way he sees them. He hates tourists. He hates all these people. And they're just like, he lives in the middle of nowhere on his own rules, and he just enslaves, fucks, and kills tourists. They're just his playthings, and that's how he lives his life. And it's just a really fucked up thing, but he's so good and charismatic in the role, and also so scary. I think that guy's a really underrated actor, in my opinion. But the movie ends, and that's it. You see him walking off and disappearing, and you know, it was like, oh, we're gonna have to watch him do more dirty shit to people soon, and it's a dark feeling in your tchotchkes. But I give Wolf Creek an absolute 8.5. I thought it was a really fucking good, effective horror movie. Again, sometimes you just gotta watch the movie outside of the era that 10 other movies like them came out in, and that's not necessarily these movies' fault. Sometimes the studios want that. Once one thing's a success, they want to make 20 copies just like it. This movie made today could have a completely different feel to it. I think it's more on the auteuristic side of the torture porn genre. I think it has its place, and I think it's really effective horror and really fucked up at the same time. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out. Do so in a good headspace, because it doesn't leave you feeling all ooey gooey inside. It leaves you feeling all ooey gooey inside. And make sure you guys click the subscribe button and the bell, because I'm going to do Wolf Creek 2. I'm going to do the TV series. So if you're interested in this, come back around. Make sure you subscribe and have the bell clicked so you know when we put those up. I love your all's fucking faces. Hope you guys have a great day. Halloween never ends. Suck my fucking dick. And I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not. Yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking, let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS, cause Halloween never ends.